Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to New Life Live. We are so glad you're here. It's Becky Brown along with Dr. Jill Hubbard and Marc Cameron, and we are answering your calls. And we have a call on the line, Diane, that we're going to get to in just 1 minute, but I want to give one more shout out. This Saturday is our online Every Man's Battle workshop. It is the easiest and most difficult day for you if you are a man who maybe you're dealing with sexual integrity issues, whether it is porn or affairs, or you just have not understood why you do what you're doing and you want to get free of this. You know, Jill and Marc, we hear from men all the time about the freedom that they experience after Every Man's Battle, and then the life that they experience following that. What is something that you would say to somebody who's listening right now who may be thinking, you know, I'd really like to go, but I don't know if they're going to be able to help me, and I don't know what difference it's going to make? What are some of the challenges?
I think those
there?
are fear responses, right? Mm-hmm. They're afraid. They haven't been able to change this. So how is a day or a weekend going to make a difference? And then men who are involved in this are usually caught in shame. And so the idea of going and exposing this to other people, I think, is terrifying for most. Mm-hmm. And so if they can get past that, if they can get through the door, life on the other side will be amazing. So I think you've tried everything in your power to do this differently. Why, like, really, what do you have to lose?
And that's right. What the benefit of the workshop is, right? You know, especially for pornography for men, it's done in secret. It's done alone, right? And so the antidote is to bring it into the light and to you know, talk about it in community, and that's what takes away the shame. And, you know, just for people who are listening out there, you know, there's a difference between these workshops that we offer and counseling. You know, I refer a lot of my clients to the workshops that we offer here, not because it's in lieu of counseling, but it offers a different experience. It's that intensive that is often needed for a person to have a breakthrough.
Right. It's like a deep dive launch
pad. Correct.
For healing.
Because we don't usually take this time to really focus on these issues, right? We just have life going on, and they can't, you know, things happen and we think about it and it's fleeting and then it goes away. But these workshops, they're just the time just to really take time out to tackle this issue, and you have this breakthrough, and then follow up with counseling after that.
I couldn't have said it better
world of
myself,
difference.
Marc.
Yes.
That's it. Well, if you want to attend, even if you don't want to attend and you need to attend, you can give us a call at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and we'll get you connected. Or you can go to newlife.com and click on workshops or events, and you'll see Every Man's Battle listed there. I'm going to go right to the calls. We're going to talk with Diane, who's calling us from Baltimore, Maryland, listens on WAVA. Hello, Diane. I'm so glad you called, and we want to get to your question. How can we help you today?
Hello. I just want to say thank you so very much for being there for God's people. And I'm another one of those adult children with parent issues. And I'm just looking for, because I don't have community and support around me, I'm looking for godly input into, am I doing the right thing? I'm 63, my mom is 85, and we are struggling to take care of each other.
All right. Well, Diane... Yes, you do hear the music. I love that. We're gonna get to your call after this, and you're not alone. We'll be there to help you. And it's interesting because normally when we're talking about adult children, we're talking about like your kids, but it's true. There's a whole nother generation that we are dealing with, adult kids. So we're going to help you when we get back, Diane. We're so glad you called, and we're going to take calls after this, and we'll be right back.
It had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle Workshop can help.
After 7 years, just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
The Every Man's Battle Workshop is being held online as a one-day event Saturday, July 8th. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com.
I just can't say enough of what New Life has done for our marriage.
1-800-NEWLIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We parted ways at the break with Diane, but she's here. And Diane is calling because she is an adult child dealing with her mother. Diane, I'm sure we have a few more details that we want to get from you, but basically you are taking care of your mother and you live together. Is that correct?
Yes, we do. We're both widows. Mom has been a widow for 34 years, and I've been a widow for 23. So we have that in common. And so I'm the one that is self-employed, that has the more flexible schedule to bounce in and out. She loves the idea of having me there so that there's a person in the house with her, which is allowing her to stay in her home, which is really what she wants to do. She was never the motherly kind when we were kids, and she has 3 daughters, one who is an atheist out of state, who is the one who knows how to remove her from her home if it's unsafe. And that is what she's monitoring very closely, whether Mom comes to an unsafe environment. So my being there is allowing Mom to stay there. And the younger sister just feels like she was never a mother. Why bother? She can pay for what she needs, let her fend for herself. So it kind of puts me in the middle. And I'm the kid who, I wish you were somebody different as a kid. So by the time I was a teenager, I was the manic depressant who doesn't really have memories of childhood. I have no concept what it feels like to have a loving mother. But, hey, everybody goes through hardship, and we're called here to overcome. And so, life threw me a hard one. Okay, I just want her to know God before she goes, and she doesn't have that. So I just feel like this is my chance for healing. God circles you around and drops you back in circumstances so that I can learn that there's 2 people in this relationship. Boy, did that speak to my heart. She needs to know who she's dealing with and why I'm there, to be there for her, to do the right thing. And it is very hard sometimes to know, am I doing the right thing? Should I step away and let her fend for herself and feel guilty when they take her out of her home and she dies in 3 months from not being able to bounce? It's a toughie for me.
Yeah, and Diane, it's also tough because you're having to balance with your sisters, and elder care is a complex situation because you are dealing with how you used to be when you were younger, and now you're an adult, and it's a whole different thing. But Jill, what would you advise Diane to do?
Well, Becky, first of all, I was thinking that my book, Forgiving Our Fathers and Mothers, might be a good one for her because it does address parents that probably should have never been parents, right? And how do you deal with them? And part of that, Diane, is your sisters are saying she doesn't deserve it. We're giving her what she gave us. And that's certainly one tactic, and it's understandable. Right? But another way of approaching it, and approaching it as a Christian, is I like the fact that you want your mother to know the Lord, even at this late date in life, and that you haven't given up on that. And that it's also about, well, how do we want to be as a person? Instead of following a mother's example, it's like, be better than your mother. Use what God has given.
She didn't give us, yes.
Right. Use what God has shown you as what not to do. as long as it's not putting you in a position of where you're overly codependent and it's zapping your life, right? It has to be life-giving for you to be the person she wasn't and to honor a role but not past behavior.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm impressed by you, Diane, because you're in a difficult situation here, because you do have two siblings who could help and share the load, right? Share some of this burden, and they're, one is out of state and the other one is, has this laissez-faire.
2 doors away. 2 doors away and no help at all. 2 doors away,
right?
Oh,
laissez-faire attitude, yeah. And so she's probably dealing with her own pain. Last show that we were on, we're talking about grieving the parent that you didn't have, and your sister maybe in that spot. I hear your question is, should you keep on doing what you're doing? And I think as you have capacity, I would, keep on doing what you're doing as you feel responsible. I've known people who have had aging parents with dementia who didn't have good childhoods, but as their parents progressed in their disease, they actually got softer and kinder, and they were able to have these sweet conversations with them, which provided healing for them. And I don't know if that's the way the progression of your mom's disease is going, but maybe there is, in this caretaking role, in it being flipped, maybe there's a part here that you can find some healing.
Well, and this is a reflective stage of life that you're entering into, that your mom is in. And when we reflect, if there is capacity for her to reflect on her life, even to ask questions, Mom, what would you have done differently? What would you have done at my age differently? And see, will she go there? Will she reflect?
Yeah. Well, and one other thing, only because I'm going...
Yet, but I've gotten a couple glimpses. I've gotten a lot of stories from my sisters about our childhood that I had no idea about. But I kind of, when she makes statements about not being welcome here, I've been through enough in my life where I can walk to the beach and say, Father, you made her, you fix her, I've had it.
Right.
And just see what he does with that while I'm gone,
Well, and Diane,
and I know it's hard.
I think the other part of this that you have to remember, and I only know this because I'm going through this myself, but I think the biggest challenge is to recognize your mom has a brain disorder. And so sometimes we expect them to be able to relate to us. We know that dementia affects people so many different ways cognitively, and you can have spaces in time where she can relate to, but there's also a high level of anxiety that occurs that, that whole, I want to stay in my house, because here's the thing, it's familiar. Right. And it's hard to, you feel very vulnerable. It's really a flip in caretaking. When you think of a child, when you think of a young child, you would never leave them alone, obviously, because that wouldn't be good for them. However, here we are, we have an adult, and they seemingly can function on their own until they can't. And so it is a journey, and to release that need to have her, like your sisters are having to deal with their own thing as far as letting it go, but to be present. And I love what you said, Jill, about, Diane, be the person that you want to be in this relationship, because that's really the biggest challenge that you have. And we are going to send you a copy of Jill's book, Forgiving Your Fathers and Mothers, because it makes such a difference in those end days, right?
Yes. Yeah, and we're watching them come, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. We surely are. Well, thank you, Diane, for calling, and we'll be praying for this situation. We know that it can be such a challenge, but we know that there is hope there for you guys to connect and keep her safe. We're going to go back to the calls, and we're going to talk with Sherry Ann, who's calling us from Dallas, Texas, and she listens online. Hi, Sherry Ann. Thanks for calling. How can we help you today?
Hi. Thank you for taking my call. I have a problem regarding 2 little 4-year-olds. They're my grandsons, and they're not identical. So they are very, very different, 2 little individuals. And one is just very bubbly and just a little ham for the camera, really outgoing. And the other one is really quiet. They're both highly intelligent. They're both on the autism spectrum. And They love each other. They're really close, but one is very leery of strangers. He's been taught what stranger danger is all about. And he's always said that he will protect his little brother, although the other twin was actually born first. They were born in the same minute. Joshua always says he's the older brother, and Les always said that he'll take care of his little brother, Caleb, but now he's hurting him. He bullies him. And Joshua is very, very verbal. He speaks like a child who's much older. And Caleb has more difficulty with verbalizing what he's saying, even though he has a higher IQ than Joshua. But he's very friendly and sweet, and he doesn't understand the concept of danger, that a stranger could actually hurt him. So we have to watch him very carefully and hold on to him when we go anywhere. His parents are doing a great job with him, but I have a huge concern in that Joshua bullies Caleb. He's always wanted his brother's affection, but Caleb is more standoffish, and he's not affectionate like Joshua. Joshua would come up and wrap his arms around Caleb and tell him, I love you, Caleb, and ask him, say it to me now. You tell me I love you, Joshua. And he didn't always do that. And sometimes he would repeat it just because he was mimicking. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So Sherry Ann, let me ask you, I got two questions. Are they your only grandsons? Like, do you have other grandchildren?
I do, and these are only 4. I have older and younger grandchildren, but I'm really concerned because Joshua hits Caleb, hits him in the face. The other day, he kicked him in the face. He's tried to kick him in the stomach. He smashed him behind the door.
Okay. Oh, wow. All right, and I have one more question. One more question, Sherry Ann. Have you spoken with the parents about this at all?
Yes, I have, and they're very concerned. But it's they were not on the same page on this at all. The kids were getting therapy, and they haven't gotten as much as they need. It's extremely expensive. They were getting some provided by the school, but Joshua is very, very active. Very hyper, and he was he's not diagnosed with ADHD. They say he's provisional for it, and since there's no written diagnosis for it, he does not qualify for the therapy that he needs. And he's bullying and hurting his brother, and I'm concerned. His parents are too, but my son is in denial. He can't see how bad it is.
Okay, all right. Yeah, it is kind of scary, Sherry Ann. Let's hear what Jill and Mark would suggest as you help.
Another thing is he's funny when he hurts him, and he kicks mom and dad and tells somebody to get away, leave me alone. Grandma, go back to Arkansas, and each other like get out. And he's very spoiled, and he wants everything, and they've given him too much. They're only 4, but he's extremely demanding.
Yeah, we hear that.
Well, right. And here's the thing, people say little kids, little problems, big kids, big problems. And so certainly this is not behavior that you want to continue, right? Some people think, well, it's immaturity, they're young, they'll grow out of it. No, often you just get a different form of it. Yes, exactly. And so
and I'm afraid he's trying to seriously hurt his brother's feelings.
Okay. So we are hearing you, and I also hear, Sherry Ann, that you're very anxious about this, as makes sense, right? And the parents are aware of this. It sounds like, though, your son is dragging his feet a little bit. And I'm wondering if you and
he's trying to sleep, but he's sleeping with one eye open. I hate to say that, but that's what it boils down to. See his expression.
Right. So, Sherry Ann, we hear you. We hear you. It is
and
very
so I
distressing.
hear that everybody is stressed about this. But so I was saying that I think you and your daughter-in-law need to find a way to communicate more of your fear and worry to your son, and that definitely you need a plan. And you're saying, okay, the therapy is expensive. Right. But also the problems that could ensure, no amount of money would want you to have those problems. And so finding ways now and finding the resources, and also the parents getting educated in how to step in and intervene with a child who is demanding and out of control. It sounds like Josh is running the roost a bit and needs some loving, caring, firm guidance here.
Well, you can hear the music, Sherry, and we're gonna go to a break, and we'll come back and hear from Marc. It is distressing because you're far away and you don't have the impact, and you do see the future. That's the reason why I asked if you had other kids, because if you have a lot of grandkids, you have a perspective, old, young, in between, and this behavior seems out of control. It's a new world parenting right now. It is, but at the same time, we got to do everything that we can to help our kids thrive and grow. And we'll be right back after this.
We went to the Intimacy and Marriage in 2019. We were both done.
This is Steve Arterburn. Do you feel like your marriage is done? New Life can help. We believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life. Our Intimacy and Marriage Workshop examines the various types of intimacy, spiritual, emotional, and physical, as well as the challenges of experiencing true intimacy.
The next Intimacy and Marriage Workshop is July 28th to the 30th in Washington, D.C. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more, or go to newlife.com. 1-800-639-5433.
Don't settle for a miserable marriage or even one that's just okay. It's possible to experience a new level of intimacy and have a great marriage.
The transformation, phenomenal, and it's transformed our lives so much.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Chris Williams on coaching.
Oftentimes I get asked, what is the difference between therapy and coaching? The biggest difference between the two is that a therapist is going to be looking for a diagnosable mental health condition, whereas a coach is going to look at a particular issue and help a person work through that.
If you need a coach, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
If you're looking at an issue in your life that you just kind of want to change, whether it be your weight or leadership or other areas of behavioral patterns, check out coaching. There can be some really, really helpful things for you.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 and talk to us about getting a New Life coach. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. If it's not one thing, it's another. And it is so frightening when we see this kind of behavior. Marc, what would you suggest for Sherry Ann? Jill,
Becky,
you got more?
yeah, I wanted to add a little bit more in. One, and Marc and I were talking about this at the break. I know in California, we have what's called the Regional Center, and they offer free resources. I know you have to actively pursue, and there's probably a lot of paperwork, but there's all kinds of things where they will come to the home and they will help with kids that have special needs. And so it's really important, especially with having two of them, that they get involved in the system, because it's a lot for parents. The other thing would be, this is the age where you start teaching kids what's okay, what isn't okay, and you want to teach and reflect empathy. Like when you hit your brother, that hurts your brother. And with kids too, you want to name things so that they learn what things are about. So you name feelings. Your brother might be feeling sad, or he might be feeling scared, or right? You name things so that they learn what is appropriate and what's going on, and especially with kids on the spectrum, because it doesn't come naturally. So you have to teach these things.
Yeah, and I'm sure that there is something like the regional center out near you, and I'm sure that they've seen these types of behaviors before, and they have strategies, and because your son and your daughter-in-law, they do need to be on the same page, because if they're not parenting from the same approach, it's going to get very, very confusing. And so, yeah, just to kind of affirm a little bit what Jill's saying here too, it's some of this is stage of development. I think, they're 4 years old.
Their boys are very physical.
Right, exactly. And they're the same age. They're twins, so they have to share pretty much everything. And I think the one who is more outgoing is probably also, realizing and maybe struggling with brother being different to him. Right. And so that could be a challenge there for him to figure out, he's maybe more verbal, he's maybe more outgoing, and brother is not the same.
Well, and he's trying to get something from him, right? So almost the hitting and the physicalness is to stimulate brother.
Right. And all behavior is purposeful.
Right.
And so you're 100% right here, Jill, is teaching kids what's underneath the behavior, right? What's the motivation? What's the, giving them language for emotions, building that empathy, helping him understand, oh, brother is quieter right now. He wants to rest. He doesn't want to play, and helping them understand the differences there. So it is a really challenging situation. They definitely need help. And another good thing about, getting involved in these resources is you get connected to other families, other parents, and there's a whole community, a whole network out there for them. So look into that. I really encourage you to do that.
Yes, I think Sherry Ann, you're a good grandma to have the concerns, and I think it is a tricky conversation, but you love them, you love the grandkids, and so we want to help you. Do you guys have a book that you would recommend?
What's coming to my mind is How We Love Our Kids.
That's a great one.
That's a really good book.
Let's do that one.
And maybe even if Sherry Ann, you read that book too, I would encourage you to do that. And also learn some of the strategies that your son and daughter-in-law might learn too, so that you're on the same page and that you can have more understanding. And I think that understanding, as you understand more about autism, I think that might help with your anxiety too.
Yeah, a lot of parents that have children who are on the spectrum have a lot of guilt and hurt and overwhelm. But the irony in that is the kids also are dealing with overwhelm because the world comes at them, and their neurobiology is just, it's on fire. So I loved what you were just saying, Jill, about the physical contact is an expression of that overwhelm. And it's a very confusing thing because you just expect that, they're going to know how to move about in the world, and it just is a different world for them. So we'll be praying for your family, Sherry Ann, and we know that it'll be helpful as you move forward and connect with them. One person who's very helpful is Larry Sonnenberg, and I know, Larry, you're in the studio right now. How are you today?
Doing good. Thank you very much. I wanted to talk a little bit about Club New Life before we talk a little bit about the workshop coming up on Saturday, Every Man's Battle. So I might have to do part of this after the break. But, we have this monthly giving club. It's called Club New Life. And we ask folks to give $35 a month or more. And there are times where people are giving generously, joining the club, and there's times where it quiets down. We're in a quiet downtime right now, so I want to just put in a plug and encourage folks to make a commitment for that $35 a month. It's such a meaningful thing. And if I'm not mistaken, Becky, I should have brought in my radio sheets. We have these devotionals that we offer if you join it. I think there's a stack sitting right here in front of me. 100 Days of Freedom from Depression, from shame, from anger, anxiety. There's all kinds of, there's like 8 of them. And if you join the club, you'll get those. And we just want to say thank you. But we also are going to be doing a, you mentioned it, the webinar.
A free webinar, July 13th,
Yeah, so you could join that as a Club New Life member. There are some discounts and other things that are offered. But more than anything, it means a difference for the ministry to be able to keep doing what we're doing. We see God is blessing that. He's honoring it. We think it's something that because we're doing this for Him. We're doing this to glorify Him, to let people know how much He does, how He can do it. And we want that to be blessed. So your blessing can be one sense of that for us. Hope you'll give to it.
I hope you do too. Go to newlife.com and click donate. We'll be right back.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are.
I have given to New Life regularly because I have so many people that I am referring to New Life who so benefit from the ministry. I just can't imagine what would happen in my area if New Life wasn't available to us.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of all 8 100-day devotionals, including 100 Days of Prayer, 100 Days of Freedom from Depression, and 100 Days of Peace. There are also ongoing benefits like the monthly Club New Life CD or download, access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, discounts on workshops, and quarterly online meetings with Steve. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. I didn't let Larry say all the things that he needed to say, and we went to a break. And so, Larry, it's that thing of the time that just goes so fast. What else do you have for us?
Well, you know, Every Man's Battle is coming up Saturday, online workshop. And lately we've been trying to encourage the women to call to get their husbands to come. That's because when we talk to the guys at the workshop, probably half the guys there say they're coming because their wife told them to, or the wife asked them to, or the wife demanded they do, whatever how that's put. But the women seem to be the motivators. So a couple of thoughts came to mind from a couple of women who I remember from the past. One is a woman who knew her husband needed the workshop, and she would put a note on his pillow at night. I think you might want to call this number and get some help. And it took several notes over a period of a couple of months. And he finally, I think, he was so irritated that he decided to get it over with and get it done. But he called and he registered, came to the workshop, came really irritated, didn't want to be there, and left a wholly different guy, big different guy. And it made a difference. And then this other woman that wrote us a letter, she discovered that her husband never grieved her father's death when he was young. And she thinks, based on some other experiences, that he maybe turned to porn and lust when that happened.
So it was his father's grief?
Yeah.
Oh.
And so what she did is she heard the workshop mentioned on radio, and she looked it up online, and she emailed a link to the website about Every Man's Battle. And she just wrote a message, you need to go to one of these. She said, I didn't expect him to take a serious interest, but he surprised me with the response. he emailed back, "Looks like a good workshop." So it was at a time where their marriage was really at a low spot. And so he took initiative, registered, and booked his flight to the workshop, and it changed their marriage life, and it changed his life and trajectory. So ladies, I just want to encourage you, don't think he'll never do this, or I'm tired of arguing with him. Do it as discreetly as you need. It might be an email, might be a note on the pillow, it might be a swift kick in the rear for him, however you deliver your love.
Well, and I know some women might be listening to this and feel a bit of a pushback because they think, well, this is his addiction, right? But the reason why we do encourage wives to call is because, you're part of the cycle. And it's not necessarily that you've created this cycle, but you're part of the cycle, and you can have an influence. You have power. You don't have to just sit and wait for something to happen. And lives are changed at these workshops.
So I don't know how else to encourage you, ladies. However you see fit. Maybe it's just fixing him his favorite meal and having a chat over dinner one day.
Well, and then there might be some people who are just so deep into the cycle that they need to actually require their husband to go to something like this for their marriage to be repaired.
Yep.
Right. But I think also leaning in with some understanding that you've had this problem a long time. It's hurting us.
Right. It's not going away. Whatever you've tried is not fixing it.
Right. And I love you enough for you to feel better about you, right? First and foremost. And that will trickle down to us, right?
One of the effective things that Every Man's Battle workshop is showing on the screen at the workshop, things that women said that they felt because of their husband's betrayal. These women have written things like, "Mommy is broken. I'm sorry, kids. And I'll never trust another man. I wasn't pretty enough." All these comments. And guys are a little dense sometimes. They don't get it. But when they see that on the board on a big screen and they see comment after comment after comment, some of the guys, they start crying.
Yeah.
I never knew that's the effect it would have on her.
Well, because
they think it's their secret problem.
Yeah, because as guys, we compartmentalize when we can do that better because of how our brains are wired. And so, when we're in addiction, we want to compartmentalize. We want to put everything else aside and just be in the addiction box. And so this is a way to expose that, there's consequences to this. Other people are affected by the addiction.
Becky, what were you going to say?
Mark just said it.
All right.
You guys are two of a kind.
The radio mind.
I think the challenge always is that the reason why they don't think about going, the men don't think about going, is because they are in addiction. And when people struggle with addiction and addictive behavior, their brain is different. And I think so many times it is leading a life where you are in denial and you think that it's separate and secret. And the reality is that it's free on the other side of that. And, and for the women who are involved with the men, what we see all the time at Restore, our women's event, is where women are keeping the secret with them because they're overwhelmed by the reality that the pain and the struggle that they're having in their lives. And, we really want to help you. We don't want to shame you. And we've helped a lot of people over the years. And I would just encourage you, if you are struggling with this, give us a call at 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com. Click on events. You'll see the information there, or just call us. And, if you need scholarship money or if you need something other than, just the information, we want to help you get there. And in this case, you don't have to go very far. You just need to log on, and we want to be there for you. So,
and Becky, can we just also highlight this webinar that we've got coming up? Because the other thing about Club New Life, it's not just strategically partnering with us. There's also many resources that club members get. There's hundreds of videos on there of all kinds of different things that it can help you with. And then we have these webinars. Oftentimes Steve will do just webinars just for the Club New Life members, and then we have this other one coming up called A Woman's Guide to the Bedroom, but it's not just for women, it's for men too.
Well, you know what we're all about here is about those redemptive relationships, about that connection, and we want to help people have a new life and to have that. But yeah, to your point, Mark, we do have a live webinar that's titled A Woman's Guide to the Bedroom. It's July 13th at 1 p.m. Central Time. It's hosted by Laura Manja McDonald, who is one of our speakers at Restore and at Intimacy and Marriage. And some of the topics that she is going to present are I just kind of chuckled when one of the outlines was you can move from chore-like sex to joyful intimacy with your spouse. And I know there's just a lot of women out there that would say, yes.
Sounds awful, right? Yes,
yeah,
of course.
Right.
Give me joyful intimacy.
Exactly. And so, attending it will help you learn new ways for intimacy, develop confidence to express your needs and your wants, and to find joy in the bedroom again. We're also going to discuss intimacy after betrayal and trauma. And one of the great things about the webinars is that it's anonymous. Like, you don't have to show your face. It's, you're just going to hear from Laura. And we had so many women that signed up for our Restore and our Every Man's Battle webinars because they just want to understand what is it that we are talking about. And so, if you are interested in that, you can go ahead and call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com. One other thing I want to promote is that it's Thursday. And every Thursday we come out with a Life Recovery Today television program that you'll see on NRB TV. After we aired it there, then you can see it on our YouTube channel. But Steve produces or, connects with people who are doing recovery work all across the world. He talks about the 12-step programs. And recently, I know we put together a program for divorce recovery. And it seems strange that you would think, why would 12 steps have anything to do with divorce? Well, let me tell you. Divorce is very difficult to recover from in many cases, and the Life Recovery 12 Steps can help you on your journey to healing and wholeness. And so you can check that out on NRB, or else you can look at our YouTube channel for those segments as well. Larry, I know that you love what we get to do, and I know you get to share those testimonies all the time. And we can't stress it enough, can we? That God is doing work through New Life, and it's pretty amazing to be part of it.
It's a highlight of my life is to see the changes happen right in front of us in a weekend. Mm-hmm. Not just with the men's workshop, but with the others. Emotional freedom on one day, the marriage workshop, it's amazing. So I can't stress it enough how important it is, what a blessing it is to know that God's hand is touching this ministry in that way with life change over and over and over again. Can't beat it. You just can't beat it. I've taken
It's amazing.
I've taken too long on this. I hope you get back to a call soon.
Well, we're going to take a break. How long can we take to say thank you to those who are giving, to encourage those of you who need to take that step in a healing direction? We could probably take a whole hour just to encourage you to do the work, because it will make a difference. You only have this one life.
Yes.
One. And it's worth whatever the challenge is that you're facing to do the work for healing and for wholeness and for connection with your loved ones. And we're here to help you.
And
if you need anything, give us a call.
Thank you.
That's right.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit its addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for over 34 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family, or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step towards genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow. Call 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back, and welcome to those of you who are listening on podcast or some other form other than radio. We are so glad that you are there. And, if you are thinking that you can't hear us on the radio, we can connect you to ways that you can listen, whether it's our free app you can download, or you can listen on our podcast, Sirius XM, of course, and your local radio stations. And YouTube too. I always say I love our YouTube family because that's how I listen when I'm not on. But we're just so grateful that you're there. And we're going to continue to go to the calls, and we are going to take a call from Lynette. Lynette's calling us from Omaha, listens on KCRO. Hi, Lynette. Thanks for calling. How can we help you?
Well, I was listening to your program, I think it was last week, and you were talking.
Yes.
So I was wondering, how does coaching help a person?
Well, that's a good question. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Jill.
Well, there's different ways to get help. And I always think, we want to approach things a lot of times from all different angles. So there's individual therapy, and then there's like group work, and we recommend both because it creates a different dynamic and helps to highlight issues and get at things. So coaching is a newer realm that's really become popular. A lot of times it is issue specific in terms of problem solving and helping you to take some next steps to move forward. Right? It's not unlike what we do, Mark, as therapists, but we do a little more in depth of looking at how the past is impacting the present, right? Where the coaching is more like, okay, the how-to steps is often how I look at it.
Yeah, they're very, very similar. And here's what I would say probably the biggest difference is coaching, usually there's a specific goal in the present that you're wanting to get to. And somebody who's a coach will help you identify those, certain steps to take to get you there.
Hello?
Right? And sometimes they'll look at things that are hindering you.
Okay, yeah, you can come on over.
In the moment, whereas therapy or counseling traditionally, right, we're helping people identify patterns of where they've got stuck, things that have happened in their past that are impacting their present.
Things that are more pervasive,
perhaps. Correct. Which again can help people also accomplish a specific goal in the present, but that's usually where the two kind of differ here. Lynette, what specifically are you thinking about getting coaching for?
Well, when I heard you talk about this last, I think it was last week, I'm having a little difficulty with traveling alone, and basically flying. I used to do it without any problems. But I think what I'm dealing with is that I guess maybe I watch too much news with all these crazy people going nuts on the airplanes, and for some reason it's kind of make me kind of hesitant about taking trips.
Yes.
So you have anxiety.
Right.
That's
what I was going to say. It sounds like you've got some anxiety, which is fear-based. Do you know, do you have an idea, Lynette, where that anxiety came from? I know you mentioned watching the news, but is there something that, watching these news stories is triggering? Is there something that's happened in your past that could be making you anxious now in the present?
Not that I can think of. Like I said, I had no problem.
Right. Well, right. And it's also true that as we get older, things that we used to do relatively easily seem to be more difficult. And so having someone walk us through the steps, it sounds like maybe because of the fear that's building up for you, we can develop kind of a phobic reaction to things. And either a therapist, often a cognitive behavioral therapist, will work on these kinds of phobias, or a coach could also help you with steps in walking through that to kind of break down some of the fears, put it into perspective, and also help you think through the tasks that need to happen.
Right. The other thing that separates coaching from counseling is the diagnosis part. And so coaches don't diagnose. Yep. Right. And I always think whenever there is anxiety present, and this seems to be attached to the flying, Lynette, but if I, as a counselor, my question would be, what other areas of your life have you been experiencing change? Since the pandemic, we've had a huge increase in anxiety across the population. Yep. And what people don't recognize, when it gets attached to a thing, like in this case, it very well could be that you're afraid of flying, but it also could be this unresolved anxiety from these last few years where everything has changed. And you mentioned watching the news, and the media has cranked up this, be afraid and everything's changing. And some of that's true, but how to manage that anxiety can be really powerful. I was hearing one of you, like you're going to jump in. Go ahead, Lynette.
I can't really think of anything. The only change in my life is that I've always had a companion, to travel with me.
Yeah. So there's been loss.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's a huge change.
Well, I've been a widow now for about 10 years, and sometimes my daughter and her children would, we could travel together. But, as kids get older, they have other interests. So they're not always available.
Right. Well, and like you just said, Jill, that's a loss, Lynette. Those are
it's
changes.
Huge. And when you're used to having a partner or somebody else there, there's kind of a divide and conquer mentality. There's lots of things that you don't need to tend to if you have someone else that tends to those things. So I think there's a huge learning curve. I know after I was divorced, I realized all the things that I didn't realize that my husband did, right? That I had to then learn and take on. And some of them were simple things, but I just didn't have to do them. And so I think there's a huge learning curve.
Yeah, and that's the thing with counseling too, is sometimes, we're not consciously aware of what is holding us back, right? It's in the unconscious or the subconscious, and a skilled therapist can help you tease that out. But one thing that we're almost out of time here, and that one thing that I would maybe suggest here is maybe seeing if there is a group that you can join, a travel group,
yes, great idea,
people
Mark.
who are same age, same stage as you, and so you don't have to travel alone, and that you can have an experience with others who are maybe in the same stage that you're in.
Yeah, I love that. And we're going to send you a copy of Loving Well, Finishing Strong. Is that the name of it?
It's Living
Jill?
Strong, Finishing Well.
Close.
I knew with this title it was going to be confusing, but you got all the words.
We're going to send that to you, Lynette. And we're also going to get you connected with, because the thing about coaching is you could start with a coach. And if the coach is able to assess that you need counseling, they will refer you as well. And we can help you in either way. We're so glad you joined us today, everyone. Thank you, Jill, and thank you, Mark. And, if you need anything, we are here for you. You can go to newlife.com and check out all the different ways, or you can call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and tell somebody about New Life. It may be the very thing that they need for a new life. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.